Yo. What up, Chris? What up, Nikos, Fizz, Sade, Sherlock, Dwayne? What is up, man? Sammy, Armando, Professor. Yo, yo, yo. Trevor, what's up, man? Caster Troy. Yo, yo, yo. Brendan, Q Kim, what up? Chilling here, man, on a Saturday afternoon. Doing the do, man. Getting to it, AMC point of interest, macro point of interest. Let's go. All right. Yeah, so we got a lot to go over here on this stream today. I'm gonna touch base on everything. I'm gonna give you guys the outlook here based on the cycle, and then we'll also talk about the market, just the overall market here. But pretty interesting stuff that I've been looking at here, and things are looking pretty good. Next week we are entering the green portion of the POI. Okay, so we're gonna go here on AMC's chart. Alrighty, all right. All right. So I'm gonna start off with something that just for those of you that don't know how the cycle works, I'm just gonna pull up one indicator that I created here. So what this indicator does, man, and this music here is funky. So we got to put it down a little bit here, or else get a little too excited. All right, so this indicator, and not the spots indicator here. This is another one. I'm gonna pull up this one right here. So this is a volume indicator that I made. What this does is, if you compare just regular volume here, you can see how it's displayed differently, right? Some of it, if you hover it over, some of it is going to be very similar. But for example, back here, you're going to get something completely different. Okay, back here in June, you have a lot more volume being displayed on this indicator that I have here versus what happened back here in January. What this does is it multiplies volume and price, and it gives you a different outlook here on how to view volume based on like a standardized volume data set here, instead of having something just based on the price that was traded before. So obviously, if you have, if you're trading back here, you're trading at $1 versus volume that was traded here in June, where we're dealing with the $70 range. Well, it's not going to be calculated. It's not going to look, the way it's being displayed here is not going to be standardized or anything. So it can be a little misleading in the way the volume looks. So when you multiply them together and then you take the standard deviation of that, you get something like this. And this gives you a better display of what the volume actually looks like on volume price ratio. So very important stuff. This is how I'm looking at volume right now, and I pulled up this trend yesterday because from the top here in January all the way back down, you guys can see how this trend line here, and this is the average. I had an average one that was smoothed out, looked a little bit better, but this here shows us the volume. Okay, and we're about to cross up. You can see the volume is decreasing, and we're making a cross here soon, dude. Like, just like we look at charts. All right, volume has its own type of, you can do your own analysis on volume as well. Volume is very important here. So with this indicator at play, I posted this on Twitter yesterday. I was talking about us coming near this POI, this October POI, which we're entering right now as we speak. Okay, and we are coming up to what is May 24th on the cycle, and we're about to start kicking in this POI, right? We don't know if this POI is inverse or not yet. So right now all we can do is analysis on what's going on, and right now it seems like we're getting a macro bounce on this resistance trend line, which is part of not the volume indicator, but this resistance trend line right back down here. We are making that bounce now. And there's a couple of fractals that I pulled up that I was looking at that are relevant to the cycle, and they're relevant to the POI that we're tracking right now. One of them being back here. Now this one is interesting because so it's a fractal, right? We're making it bigger. We're changing the time, the original time frame here. And one way I was describing this fractal here was by doing the same macro resistance trend line back here would have started in January. That was a high, and then we crossed it. The first time we crossed it was right back here in April. Okay, so we crossed it, and then this is where I believe we're at right now. Currently right down here in May, fractal, from a fractal perspective. So this fractal I just took here, okay, made it bigger, is what we're currently riding right now. And you can see here how the projector that we have lines up with the cycle. It lines up with this POI here. So what I'd be expecting is next week finally a market bottom, and then a spring effect here that rallies the majority of stocks. Especially these, small mid-cap stocks that have been shorted. There's a massive list of stocks that have been completely shorted to the ground, and I think those guys are next. It's just been on a constant downtrend, no upside. I think AMC and GameStop are the ones that are showing that trend reversal right now, but a lot of other stocks are still on a downtrend, and they haven't, gotten that bottom quite yet. All right, so this is one of the fractals. It does line up, again, with the POI. Now, a lot of people on Twitter and like YouTube and stuff, like, you guys have to remember, dude, that the POI here is a range, okay? It's a monthly range, and one of the ways we can confirm that the cycle is real is using the this volume indicator that I made. So let's pull this guy up again. All right, so one way to sort of confirm that the cycle is real here, where you can see that the majority of the volume here that we're drawing and we're seeing here, you can even see it on the regular volume chart, is lining up on the green portion of the cycle, which only happens every 62 days. Okay, so we can see right here it happened in August. You can see it happened in March. Okay, and then in between, we call what are stagnant periods. Sometimes the cycle is not doing much, and on a very small scale, you're not going to see, drastic price action like these bigger POIs that have played out, which we can even take the cycle that happened in January back here, again, still spaced out 62 days apart, and you can still see that the beginning here lines up with the January cycle. Okay, so it seems like there are periods where the market is dry in volatility, and the cycle is still doing micro patterns. Like, you can still stretch them out and see what is going on in the cycle, but it's not as drastic as some of the POIs that we have seen here, right? So there's only been two that have played out inverse. Okay, you've seen this one right here, and then this entire section here, the red going into green. These have both played out inverse. And right now they're playing out identical. They've all been playing out identical. So everything is still tracking according to setup. It is a little delayed, but that is just part of this whole, waiting for the POIs to play out, active or not. And I've told people, like, I say this every time on stream, but the POIs are not always guaranteed to go up. Volatility is one of those things that also plays out to the downside. Again, we've seen that before back here in November. It's one of the first times that we saw this play out in inverse POI, which is its downside. It is what it is, right? All right. So, with that being said, let's talk about the POI. Let's talk about what we're expecting here. And pull up a couple of other things here. Okay, so if you are on the website and you can track AMC, this is the macro POI that I had for the week. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see. You can kind of see it, but it's a little dark. All right. If I zoom in, you might be able to see it a little bit better. Nah, this is dark, dude. All right, hold up. Let's make these real dark. All of them. If there was a way of TradingView, and I know they're gonna do this at some point. I just complained about this, and I shouldn't, but I kind of want TradingView, like if you get on, Photoshop's level where you can just like do everything here with like the tools that they have are like superior, obviously, but just on this, I know that it'll get to a point where you can really just, you can do everything here. It'd be nice. All right, so this is the macro POI that I've had on the website. We've had this since last week. And we're tracking, we're tracking the blue portion here, which is the positive POI. Now, the POI, guys, remember, it's just volatility, and I'm going to show you here the previous POIs. For example, back here on the June run-up, the POI was May 13th. Now, it wasn't a one-day POI or anything. It was a range here, and you saw the projector was the POI, and then the lingering effect from that POI is everything that happens after. But that's not the POI right there. The POI is what kickstarts the run. Okay, so the POI here is not expected to take us immediately in one day all the way to all-time highs or whatever, right? That's not what it's intended to do. The POI is just intended to bring in the volume. If it's going to be positive volume here, yes, we're probably going to go up and go up pretty drastically like we have before on these other POIs. And then that would set us up for the next run. But a couple of things have to happen on a technical level. Why I do technicals with POIs in the end is because it's important to understand what's going on. What these institutions are trying to do, and use technicals to sort of distort what's actually happening. So here we do have to cross resistance first, and that's $10. That's going to be the first level. It's a range. And then after that, we definitely have to come all the way up here to the $17 range before making any other kind of push, right? If we come up here to this level, around 15 on the POI, say this thing curls up, does something like that, that's a POI right there, dude. That's over 100% of volume in price here. We'd go up about 130%, going up to this $15 range. So that's big. That's a POI right there. Now, when the cycle breaks, and if we get something like GameStop, then obviously we're going to get a higher push up. We're going to go up to new levels. But the thing that we can't predict here, and I can't predict here, is if this is going to break the algorithm or not. You're going to see that on the setup for sure. It's more likely that the algorithm breaks when the setup looks good. I'm going to show you an example of a stock that we were tracking here on the cycle. So Sava was one of the stocks we were tracking here on one of the POIs, and we've been tracking this since back here, September. And I was telling, the Discord, this is what you want to see. Like, for like a squeeze to play out, this is kind of what you want to see here. And you can see it with the volume too. But what's going on here is you have just pressure building up without crossing levels of resistance. So it makes it a lot easier for this to just, at this point, trap a bunch of bears. Okay, it can go both ways, but really you can trap a bunch of bears here and then just release that volume. As an institution, not saying this is something that would break the algorithm, but it can. But sometimes this setup here is, it's a bear trap. I've seen it before here on Sava. Very similar setup. Right here is where, things just go ballistic, right? Crazy. So that's kind of what we're expecting here with AMC, but really think about it this way. The longer this takes, the nastier this run is going to be. Because this is just, I keep saying this, but it is a time-ticking bomb, and you really don't have that much time as a short to keep bringing the price down. There's gonna come a point where this is gonna get very, if they keep dragging this out, it's gonna get very, very cheap, and it's just gonna be a slingshot. A catapult is what it is. I mean, we just crossed resistance, guys, and we're about to bounce again. This is the second bounce that we've had on resistance. Okay, this is actually, I mean, that would be like a perfect way to kind of look at this, is a catapult. You got this little guy right here getting ready to be like slung, bro. Okay, all you gotta do is press the lever and this thing comes shooting back up, right? I mean, just from a technical perspective, this stock is ready to go. And we brought up, not only, so one of the things we track here a lot is a quad witching setup. And it's the first time we crossed above the previous quad witching price. And if we continue tracking what is this curve line here on this entire quad witching, these are the previous ones, by the way, this should indicate that we are headed back up here. Like, the trajectory is changing. We are changing bullish now. Okay, so a lot of things are still pointing up. And there's really only so much you can do at this point. But I'll show you guys a couple of other fractals that I'm tracking here as well for AMC, just based on pattern analysis. There's a pretty interesting one here, but let's do something first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool that I brought up the other day. But so the entire pattern here, and this is a way to understand how fractals work, but you can actually take this entire pattern here and you can shrink it, okay? Shrink it, and we have what is a fractal of the entire AMC sequence lining up with the cycle, the arc POI. 62-day cycle here. You can see how things are lining up. Not only on a fractal level here, where you like these are extremely accurate in the way they hit the POIs that we're looking at here. There's gaps in between, right? But the overall structure of this pattern here is following a very similar layout. You can see it's just following this sequence. And not only are the patterns tracking here, but the levels are also tracking. Okay? High, low, high. Okay? Mid-range, massive short attack. High. Okay? Comes back down. It just trades sideways. And then where are we coming? We're coming to August 24th, which is a big POI. You can see it right here on the volume. Everything else is dry until this point right here. Okay? So I also look at things this way when I do cycle analysis, because if things are happening on a smaller scale and it's following the, a similar sequence here, like to each individual stock that has a cycle, it follows an algorithm that plays out on every single time frame. A lot of the times, this is how it works. So, this is also something that we can see here on the macro scale. If I take this pattern, we'll take it from here, and yeah, let's go all the way back here or something. See. So now I'm going to stretch this out, right? And you can see here, let's see where this guy starts. So this is the blue pattern, and the blue pattern starts, I believe, on August 24th. Around there is when we start to see this right here. And you can see how these are lining up. Again, if we line everything up here together, macro POI, right here's a macro POI, and then here's another macro POI, which lines up with the October POI that I was talking about. So from a fractal perspective, you can also look at things that way. Something else Professor had talked about and brought up on the Discord was a correlation here. We had a correlation that we were talking about with Ethereum Classic. So I think that's actually very important here. We can talk about it here. Looking at other sectors is very important when it comes to analyzing cycles. Okay, so, and that includes crypto. So we're going to take this little tool that we have here, and we're going to use AMC or Ethereum Classic and XRP is what he had talked about, Professor. All right, so what this tool does is it shows us the percentage in return over a selected window period, and it just allows for a better just representation of what's actually going on with, comparing all charts here. Oh, like we're starting back here in February, and this is telling us how much a stock security has profited within that time frame here, and we're comparing all of these. So you can see that they're all going to be fairly similar in a range. Like anything in the within like 100% range is pretty similar. I'd say it's on a pretty similar level here. If I put GameStop in here, you're actually going to see GameStop well over this percentage. It's going to be in the 2000s over. One of the reasons why I'm very convicted here in AMC is because it hasn't had that push yet. It hasn't had a similar push that we've experienced before, comparing it to GameStop and other stocks. So we were talking about, when we do this comparison, we know that there was a period in the cycle where everything tracked identical. It started tracking here in November. The entire market started to fall. This was the start of this major downturn in the market that we still haven't. It's been already over a year. We have not, or about a year, that we have not reversed yet. The market is still in a downtrend. So here we can see that, based on this correlation here, what we had talked about is this gap that we're looking at right here. We've had this gap happened already with AMC and Ethereum Classic, which was right here, but now we're seeing it happen again with XRP, and this happened before back here. Now this gap here is very important, because if we go back in time and sort of analyze things as if we were looking at them in this period, in the cycle period, which does match up with the cycle, then we would get what is this AMC pattern here. Okay, this is right back here. All right, you can see it right there. It fits like perfectly. I'm on the daily chart, so if I really wanted to, I can go in on the 30-minute and you could see how accurate this pattern is. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because the POI we had just talked about on a fractal chart and just on a regular pattern perspective here as well lines up with the October POI. So all these things are just lining up the way that we've seen before. So this doesn't mean that, we're only going to come up to a certain percentage like we did before. It just means that there's a POI active. And this is just another way to confirm some of the things that are happening here. I love looking at sector rotation and analyzing individual cycles because it really does explain and give you a better perspective on the current, on AMC cycle here. So it does open up a lot of opportunity in the market to do stuff like that, But yeah, this is a really, really interesting here. And let's see. Let's look at it on the 2-hour chart real quick. Take this away. It's one of the patterns. I mean, dude. I mean, just look at the percentage, bro. Like, that to me looks like a perfect match right there. With, again, I'm not just taking any pattern. I'm taking a pattern that lines up, like, from a cycle perspective, guys. Looking at other cycles where things are happening the same way. They seem to be happening the same way. There's a couple of other ones that I can pull up here that show us a very similar setup as well. I believe there's one here, and this one would be considered a fractal. Yeah, you actually have to take fractal here, and this one's a little bit different. This would be a bearish scenario here, but that's another pattern that I was tracking. There's also this one back here. Okay, right there, and I took a little bit too much of that one, but this one also shows us the October POI right here in this mid-range. There's a couple, but I mean, dude, there's many ways you can approach this. The thing about cycle analysis is that it really focuses on what patterns, how patterns behave on different time frames, and really on the macro scale here, using the 2-month cycle, the 3-month cycle, and the 4-month cycle to really narrow down these possibilities, then using technical analysis after that. But yeah, no, dude, things are still looking good to me. I'm not one to just not, like, I'm convicted still in what's going on with AMC, and I still see a lot of opportunity here on what's going to happen in the coming days. Not only looking at AMC, but looking at the entire market, guys. This is not something that, I'm just focusing on AMC. Like, I've been looking at the SPY. I've been looking at all these other meme stocks that are doing certain things that we've seen before. Saba being one of them. Saba went first before AMC and GameStop, and then peaked right after in February. So there's a lot of things happening right now that point for the upside. But with upside, there's downside. I've also given the bearish scenario on AMC, and that's also a possibility. But right now, I think we need to see what the market's going to do next week. And to me, it seems like we're getting very close to a bottom. I guess I can talk about the market real quick. Get the SPY up in here. Yeah, this is one of the fractals I was tracking here, but I actually have, with the spots indicator that I made here, this indicator is amazing here. Now, what this does is, so it's a moving average, but it's very similar to some of the crosses that we've had before, except this is a very, very simple cross because it's tracking a 3-day moving average. And the correlation that I've seen here, at least, is when we have this, the inverse color highlighted here, which in this case is blue or pink. when you have the inverse cross, you typically have a nice move respecting what is either resistance or support here. So I've seen a really nice correlation. And then this, I'm working on something that will forecast what's going on, but right now I'm doing it just manually here. So I have a spring forecast on the SPY, and we've been tracking this here for a little while, but everything is tracking according to layout here. You can kind of see how the projection is laid out here on this curve. But I've seen this pattern happen many times on the SPY. This is what it looks like on the macro scale. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, these are wedges. Okay, this is a double bottom, and then these two are going to be wedges. Okay, one's ascending, one's descending, and they're both typically bullish. Okay, but this pattern here plays out on, I can pull up here. I'll pull up one right now. So this would be here, would probably be closer to a double bottom. The SPY does this like a lot. We have, let's see, right, this is another double bottom here. Then we also have this entire pattern here, which is kind of what we're doing right now, in my opinion. That would be like right there. There it is. And then I'm going to pull up this one now. Where's this one? Well, here's another one. I'm just trying to show you guys why I track these patterns a lot, because these do play out on the macro like a lot. Here, I'd say this one probably plays out the least. Because this one is this one is a little bit more bullish on the macro, and if you are in a downtrend, you create a lot of these ones down here. Okay, so I see these, and you see these happen a lot here on shorter time frames too. But yeah, so all this is just the inverse version of this. So just take this, flip it, and then you have that right there. All right. Very similar setup. So this is what I track here for the SPY. These are, very common patterns that play out. And I'm expecting this. I'm expecting a reversal here once we do establish a bottom. But this is, if things do play out this way, AMC might remain stagnant for a little bit here going into what is the POI, which is going to be the first to the second week of October. That is what we're tracking right now. And if we keep doing that and the SPY bottoms and rallies the way it's expected to, then it's very likely that AMC is also going to bounce here and start creating these moves that we're expecting here. So, yeah, it's only a matter of time, dude. It is only a matter of time. Now, worst case, if we do have an inverse POI and say the market does start to crash, then we're going to have to look at that here, and it's likely AMC would cross below certain levels, probably go to the $5 range. That would suck. And then we check the next POI, and that's it. POIs are not going to change. I don't think they can unless the algorithm breaks. So it's all about tracking the POIs, guys. That is the approach here. I don't change the approach unless it fails me. And so far, it hasn't failed. The only thing that I will say is, if I'm calling for a certain level, I'm not going to be perfect, okay? And I admit that, because based on POIs don't track and will not tell you where the price is going to go. It's just going to tell you if there's volatility. So after volatility, you kind of have to, do your own due diligence on really the entire stock, using everything else that does not involve cycle analysis, and that is really looking at the technicals and looking at everything else. That's just kind of you have to make up your own your own analysis on where you think the stock is going to go on the POI. But yeah, that is just like the stock market, guys, is a very sticky thing. But you can definitely predict these volatility zones. I think volatility zones, POIs, are trackable. And I don't think that has not failed. Like, that is a thing for sure. So until that fails me, I'm not going to stop doing the things that I do, the approach I take. because it's working, and it's been working on other stocks too. So, let's see. Yeah, let's answer some questions now, man. I'm going on a little rant here, nonstop. All right. Trying to read up here, catch up on all these comments here. I think the majority of people were expecting just, like POI updates, which is what this video goes over. A lot of just POI stuff. Yes, I do. I mean, I track a lot of other stocks, guys. AMC is not the only stock I track or anything like that. AMC is what opened up the opportunity for points of interest. I would not have found out the things that I do here. I would not have done without AMC. AMC is opened up a lot of opportunity here in the market for a lot of different stocks. But yeah, I can go over some of the stocks that we were tracking last week on the Discord. If you guys do want to join the Discord, it's on the link below. That'll take you straight there. It's pretty chill. It's a nice chat. Good people in there. So yeah, join up if you guys want to access that Discord. But some of the stocks that we have tracked here that do have high volatility are Apron. Apron was one of them that we were tracking for a macro POI. Last week it went up almost, I think total it was like 40% that it went up. The POIs on the SPY and AMC, the SPY, GameStop, stuff like that, those are very neutral in the sense that we're always tracking what's going on, because you really have to focus. My approach is I don't try and find every single stock in the market that I possibly can, and steer away from really specializing in a couple set of stocks, which in this case indices, SPY, I specialize a lot in what's going on with the market, and then also AMC, GameStop, a couple of other stocks, and then the rest are just going to be macro POIs that I find, which go on the weekly POI list if they do have a volatility zone that is expected, and then from there I use options and stuff to I think that's the best way to make money, in my opinion, in the market, is using options. That is just what I believe, that's my approach. But again, everybody has their different approach in the market and how they kind of use things. So yeah, we track some of those. There's a pretty large list for 2 weeks ago. We had a really massive list, a lot of POIs we're tracking. And then if you're the type of person that likes plays and stuff like that, that's something I do on the Discord. But a lot of people also just like the POIs that I put out, and they kind of look at the POIs and make their own sort of judgment on stuff like that and setup. So yeah, I will have this indicator out too as well for the Discord here soon, and a couple of other indicators that I have set up. But Oh yeah, dude, they ain't trolls, man. They're bots. That's what they are. Oh man. I kind of want to pull up something else I feel like that I hadn't talked about yet. All right, let's see. Oh, well, here's AMC plus Ape. I have actually a poll here because I'm curious, so I'm gonna send this out. But AMC plus Ape you can only use if you have TradingView, like, and you can only use if you. I think you have to have a pro account if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna make a little poll here, but like, would or like trading, like I'm gonna yeah TradingView. I just want to know who uses TradingView. Like, just say yes or no if you use TradingView, so I know, like, who has access to this or like or whatever. Like, let me know so I can post this. Post good old AMC plus Ape. I know some people would rather look at the charts like that. They had previous indicators and stuff. My indicators did get messed up when the shift took place. So I had to update the entire charts based on the, the shift that was for AMC, which is the one down here. You can see it's a lot different. So, let me see. This, yeah, so this is one of the ones that I did not switch because this shift right here, you cannot get with AMC's chart by itself. You actually need Ape in order for this to make sense. And this is the parallel zone, which is very important. It's the support zone, parallel, volatility, and then the squeeze zone. All of these right here, you can see they don't line up with AMC's chart. You need AMC plus Ape. And you can see right here how things are following based on this trend line here. So, yeah, a couple of things, but and I did notice that we were exiting this section, which is the support section. However, since we're on the macro scale here right now, this doesn't, quite confirm that we're headed on a downtrend or anything, because there is, so back here we've seen a couple of spots here where, and we're dealing with different price here. So if the market decides to bottom next week and we have a reversal, it's likely that this thing comes back into the channel here, and it's just a range, remember that. So I'm not giving this chart right here too much focus right now, just because, and again, it's just preference, but it's because we don't have enough information on what Ape is doing, and Ape is already, going down with the current news that we just had. So it's a little bit too early for us to address this right now, and I want to see what's going to happen here next week. But this is something that I've been tracking on AMC, and it also has to do with the cycle, and it talks about how, on certain time frames or on certain time periods, you come and you gravitate back into these zones that we've talked about before. So, but yeah, this is another video here that I'll have to update soon, because again, we just need a little more information on Ape before making any sort of setup. What I will tell you though is that we've only gotten out of this zone once back here, and it was for 120 days, which is the 4-month cycle. Okay, and this cycle here, I guess I'll talk about this real quick since you can so you guys can kind of see what I mean by this. So, and it's pretty accurate, like pretty fucking accurate. So you can see here 118, 320 bars. You can see that it comes out of that range before coming back in, and then the next series here, 120 days. Whoops. Right there. You can see that it stays in that zone. Okay. And then when does it come back into that zone? Okay, so for 120 days, again, it comes completely out. I'm actually going to take away the squeeze zone here for a sec just to show you guys. Volatility zone, you go in and out very quickly. Here, another 120 days. And then here, another 120 days. And then you can see that it stays in the blue zone for 120 days. Again, this is how they're hedging those positions. Very quickly are you going to stay in here, guys, before, on the green zone. Very quickly you're going to stay before falling back down. This is where AMC likes to spend the majority of its time, is on the blue zone. And in this case, you have another 120 days back here. And now we're trying to figure out if we're going to get out of this zone or if we're going to come back in and start coming back up. Now, I'm just going to give you a worst case scenario based on this analysis here. But if we did play out an inverse POI, worst case, I would expect something like this down here, which is the same thing where you get out of the zone and then you have a very parabolic move up at the end, which is just these guys shorting the heck out of this stock until they can't anymore. And you would probably get something like this. Not exactly the same way, but you would chill here for a little bit, okay, before making that push back up. And when you come back into the zone, as we've seen here in the past, it typically crosses red, blue, and green at the same time. So this move here would be a pretty drastic move up based on this analysis here. So again, I'm not putting too much focus on this right now because we don't have enough information on Ape, and I don't want to just assume that things are happening this way. But this right here, you can see, and this is if things are lined up correctly, but 120 days from here. So we would have gotten out right around this range here, and then 120 days. It actually goes in a little bit earlier here, but different time frame, guys. Is back here there's a lot less volume happening, so the time frame is going to be a little bit different comparing it to now. So it is a little bit it will show just slight incorrect data. We can see this with GameStop too. So yeah, this is like a worst case scenario, and I have brought this up before too, but this would be like a bearish scenario here on AMC if things did play out this way. All right. All right, so 58% of you use, 60% use TradingView, and then 40% don't. Interesting. What do you guys use?
Many people are experimenting with the drug ecstasy.
What the hell am I listening to right now? Jesus. Well, what do you guys use if you don't have TradingView? Like, do you, for charts, like for doing analysis, or if you don't do charts, let me know if you don't do charts. Maybe you don't, maybe you don't use charts and you just, yeah, like my dude here, focus on Twitter. Okay, TOS, I do that too. That's good. It's a good trading platform for sure. I mean, that's the main trading platform I use is Thinkorswim. But for analysis, there's so much you can do with TradingView because, well, look, I'm gonna take something back here. For options, you can't have access to options on TradingView, which sucks. It's like a major thing here with just cycle analysis. Focuses actually like one of the major things it focuses on is options, and you can't, they don't show you option charts here. That sucks. So I do all the analysis on Thinkorswim with that, and I appreciate that from them. But yeah, we got to kind of jump on that for sure. Yeah, TradingView is free. Yeah. Trevor's right. It is free. The only thing that's not free are the indicators. If you are trying to use indicators, any indicators that people write in code, you won't be able to access those, but you will be able to still access some of these charts. And also the exchange you get your information from matters too. The main one that these guys use is CBOE, I think. And then I used the New York Stock Exchange for AMC. I think it provides, so it really goes all the way, starts here at 3 a.m. It gives you a little bit more information, more data from 3 to, but the majority of them will start at 6 a.m. A lot of the, or at least the one that comes here. Now, if you're looking at the daily chart, they're all going to look the same. You're not going to have anything different on the daily chart. Man, AMC guys. It's one of the craziest things is like we've been looking at this chart, dude. Like I've been looking at this chart ever since, this thing happened, man. January just blew me away. And it's just a crazy journey, man. Like just think about this. We've been doing this since January. And it's been, it's about to be 2 years, man. Ho, man. That is insane, but that's cool. I mean, I'm here for it. Look, the upside here with this, it's an experience for me. It's a learning experience, figuring out what the market mechanics truly are is something that AMC has opened up for the community. Just think about it this way, why it's special. It's like the meme community or AMC community that does, specialize here in trying to figure out what's actually going on, like with the charts. Just think about how much you've learned just looking at this chart, man. Like, I think, it's opened up a lot of opportunity. And that I'm very thankful for, is that we're able to really look at charts differently, sort of expose this game that is being played here, right? So I dude, take it, that is on the positive side of things. Yeah, sure, we're down, and that sucks, but, I'm very thankful for that, at least. I think we're all we're riding the waves, man, waiting for this to go down, but it's going to be pretty once it does, It's going to be real pretty. EJ, so cycle analysis is not really really an approach. There are people that have done, there is like a cycle traditional analysis that you can sort of do, and there's a lot of filters you can use too with cycle analysis, but at least the one I do here focuses a lot on derivatives. So options are very big on the cycle analysis I take here, but the way I learned, the approach I take here is entirely through what was going on with AMC and just the repetition that was occurring here. So it really is more of like a pattern analysis than it is just using cycle analysis. The thing about cycles is that it involves a lot of math. So a lot of the indicators that I use here use the Fourier transform, the formula. They use a lot of different data here that sort of projects these cyclical patterns that are playing out and signaling these out, really narrowing this entire sequence of waves and signaling out these frequencies that are not supposed to be there. And what that does is it just spits that out, right? Spits out the error in the chart and normalizes that data set so that you can see a smoother curve here on some of these things. And that's just, some of the indicators. But I think the approach here has to do a lot more with how the option chain is used to manipulate the price action, how these guys use it to do that. So it really, it's a lot, but it's been good. It's been good learning about it because, it's been able to help here with the points of interest that we've been tracking, for sure. Yeah, trading is fun. It is a fun thing for me, and being able to really express this whole thing with you guys, man, is the best thing. I love this community as well. This community is life, man. Okay? And the majority of you guys in here, what I've noticed is that the majority of you guys, if not all of you, are on the same page, and it's awesome. Okay, we don't have any goofy people in here, and if there are goofy people, we love them, and we give them love, man, and they come in and they convert to this religion, right? Convert them. But no, I mean, dude, it's awesome in here. And you know what I can't wait for, dude? Because this is what this channel is really about. But whenever we start going up, because it's been crappy, right? I remember back here, we would rally, dude. We would have rallies in here. We'd throw elephants in the chat and rockets and all that good stuff. We haven't done that quite yet because it's been really just trending, pretty sideways. But we do it here on the rallies, and that's always fun. But I would definitely want to do it more. I think it's fun, dude. Man, rallying here with the chat. And I think when this thing comes through, you're definitely gonna see some pretty hardcore streams here. All right, cool. The Wizard of Oz. Will I ever have guests on the streams? I mean, who we trying to get in here, man? Who we trying to get in here? Yeah. I do streams on the Discord. I do streams with some people, and we just talk, on there and stuff. But I definitely have to do a it'd be cool to talk this out, man, with some people on this cycle thing. I know for a fact when we do streams, when we rally, we get either Rico jumps in here or on both streams, and we just have a good time, dude. That's what it's about. But I'd be down to talk to some people, man, doing this whole cycle thing. I know Booksy does a lot of fractal analysis, so I would love to hear his approach and talk it out with him. There's a couple of other of other people I would love to get on and talk to. I've had, you know, streams with Astro before too. We're doing the whole cycle thing. Like, I mean, like, yeah, dude, whoever is always down to come in here and talk it out is, that's my thing, dude. We'll do it. Yeah, and Casey as well, man. Casey's another one. I love my guy Casey. I gotta get on his stream. I know we've been trying to do like a little stream together, so get on Casey. Dope. All right, guys. We did a little stream here. I am gonna go ahead and cut it off here, but if you guys want to if you just got in on the stream, make sure you rewind the video, keep it posted for you guys to see. But it is just gonna talk about this macro POI updated, yeah, man, we're waiting for this bounce. And I'm here for it. Okay. So yeah, don't forget to join the Discord on the link below and chat it up with some peeps, man. Okay, and yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on there. Twitter as well. Twitter's a good one. So make sure you guys all get on there, okay? All right, we'll see you guys on stream next week. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.